Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second podcast. Yes, this one was supposed to be a live podcast, but we actually had some technical difficulties, and it's not going to be live today. We're going to try and get it figured out and get going for next week, but we are doing a pre recorded one. This will just be uploaded to YouTube and everything else Sunday as if it was a live episode. Anyways, today we have a kind of a fun one. We're going to be talking about the draft. We're going to be looking at quite a few. We've got four different mock drafts we're going to be looking at. We're going to be kind of giving our own opinions. We just kind of have our own opinions on people that we think our team should take. We didn't quite look around the entire league, but we have opinions on who we think our team should take, and we have opinions based on what everyone else has put. So, without further ado, we're going to be getting right underway.
In that case, where should we begin at? Where do you think?
Where should we begin? Um, I kind of want to start off with this PFF one that we found. The PFF one,
Okay.
it was kind of a fun one that we found. You guys won't be able to see this, but we went to pff.com/draft/NFL mock draft simulator, and we went in for 2 rounds, and we just kind of made it simulate. We went off 50 PFF, 50% PFF, 50% public. Teams were drafting based off draft needs and care for positional value, and the randomness was just set to random. We click start mock, and we just let it go and see what it came up with. And obviously, number one, I mean, for me at least, my number one was Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'll say I had
Like
that.
at this point, I don't think there's
I don't
any.
think
I mean, there could be, but
I don't think there's any doubt that
99% positivity that Joe Burrow's going number one. Over.
the only question for me is Joe Burrow going to be going to Cincinnati as the number one overall guy?
That's true.
Because I have heard rumors that Miami offered I think 12 or something like that draft picks this year because they have 14 or something like that. They offered like 9 or I think from 9 to 12 draft picks to Cincinnati for number one just in this year's draft alone, and obviously Cincinnati would then fall to 5 to Miami. But it's just interesting that they had offered that. So it's like, well, is Miami wanting Joe Burrow, or do they just want to guarantee that they're going to get Tua Tagovailoa?
Even that, it's a
I'll say it's very. Me and
kind of
Jeremy talked
question
about this
there
kind of
too.
in length about each one of the quarterbacks, and I guess let do we just want to start with that actually? Kind of toss this out the window and just go. Let's talk about these first two quarterbacks that everyone's been talking about: Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and you know what? For fun, do you want to toss in Justin Herbert? I mean, those are
Yeah,
like the
we can,
three.
cause
Those are
that's a big three.
yeah. Um, I'd asked Jeremy this question in his opinion, who he thought was going to have the better career by the end of it all, and I don't quite remember what your answer was, but
I don't really remember off the top of my head either. It's a hard kind of question to tell
yeah,
because yeah, Joe Burrow, he was throwing bombs this season, touchdowns after touchdowns, and as you know, Tua Tagovailoa, we got injured with a hip injury this season.
yeah, it was
At the same time, that also raises questions about whether Tua Tagovailoa's health is going to keep him in
yeah.
the game for extended periods of time.
Yeah, and so that's one big question because Tua does have a history of injuries, and that is something that should be kind of scary to everybody. But I'm gonna kind of answer this one. I think Tua's still gonna have the better career. I think Tua's gonna get an offensive line behind him or in front of him that's gonna be able to protect him. I think an NFL coach is gonna tell him, "Hey, Tua, you're not a scrambler. All right, you can't do it. Every time you do, you get hurt. All right, so it's just not something that you're gonna do." So they're going to make him sit in the pocket and they're going to make him be a pocket passer. And that's going to be rough for Tua the first 2 years. And I think we're going to see that struggle. But I definitely think that that's what Tua's going to end up doing is Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the better quarterback. Because in my opinion, and I've made this very known to anyone who knows me, I think Joe Burrow is a bust. And I know that's a big shock to a lot of people that are hurrying. And I guarantee you that a lot of people just tuned out all because I said Joe Burrow is a bust. But if you think about it, he literally had that was the dream team of college football. That was arguably one of the best teams that college football has ever seen. You know, he's got we're looking at this mock draft right now and actually just looking at it, you've got three LSU guys all going back to back to back, 21 to Philadelphia, 22 to Minnesota, 23 to New England. You've got a corner, a safety, and an ED, all of them from LSU. You know, he had a great defense. He had Justin Jefferson, a stud wide receiver, and that was the number one guy. They still had a number two guy that was putting up 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he had the best offense and defense. And I think Joe Burrow was the guy that was in the right place at the right time. I think you could put Justin Herbert in at LSU as quarterback. And I still think at that point you would say Justin Herbert's the number one overall pick. I think at that point
Yeah.
Justin Herbert wins the Heisman, and Joe Burrow isn't even a question. Everyone's like, who's Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow would be that third guy trying to squeak in to the Chargers or something like that. That's trying to be that last top 10 quarterback pick.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tua Tagovailoa was injured for his whole last season, but yet he's still, without a doubt, a top 5 pick. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's going to doubt that Tua Tagovailoa is definitely a top 5 pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing to kind of put in perspective. So I'm looking at some stats right now.
Hmm.
So we'll start off in 2019. Yeah, Tua only played 9 games this season. Okay. He still put up nearly 3,000 yards. Had a passer or completion rating of 71.4%. Still threw 33 touchdowns as well. So like in 9 games, that's pretty good.
Yeah, those are impressive numbers for 9 games, and like you said, he got injured early on, and so oh wow, that's weird. Okay, so I actually just got disconnected from PFF and I had to reconnect, but one weird thing that just popped up is Tua Tagovailoa going number 3 to the Detroit Lions,
Really?
and then the Miami taking CeeDee Lamb at number 5. Pretty much everything else stayed the same in there, but you got Tua Tagovailoa going number 3 to Detroit. And that's interesting because I don't think Detroit is ready to move on from Matthew Stafford. I think they're invested way too much into him. I don't think that's a plausible pick in my mind. So sorry, PFF, I'm about to disagree with you there. We skipped over who number 2 was, and I don't know what yours is, but mine says Chase Young, and that sounds 100% correct.
Yeah, I've seen so on my PFF one, it's showing Tristan Wirfs,
Okay.
but I've also been seeing on a whole bunch of other ones is Chase Young
I think Chase Young is going to
being
be
the
kind of.
number 2 overall.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to be kind of. I think that's definitely the direction that's going to go. Is I think Chase Young actually may be the best player in this draft. The
You think
defensive,
so?
I think that defensive end, I think he very well could be the best player in this draft. I think he's going to be the Saquon Barkley of last year, the guy who was the best player in the draft, but wasn't taken number 1 overall because the number 1 team needed a quarterback, even though they would pass on the actual better player.
Let's take a look.
I,
Some of his stats here.
I said Chase Young this year alone, he was a monster on and off the field, or not off the field, but
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, broke the school record in sacks, was just absolutely dominant in every little aspect that he was doing.
Yeah, he was a producer this season.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the stats here.
Yeah.
16 and a half sacks in general.
Yeah, honestly, that's a little bit of a.
That's pretty good. I can't lie. He was doing pretty good.
So he was a little bit of a monster out there.
6 forced fumbles.
I definitely think, like I said, I think Chase Young's the best player in this draft, and he's gonna get kind of the Saquon Barkley treatment where he's gonna get skipped over. Um, we'll get back to my thoughts on what happened with Saquon Barkley on another day, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on Chase Young. Um, but let's just kind of keep going down the line. I have so my thing just refreshed and it has Tua going number 3 to Detroit. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's actually gonna be Jeffrey Okudua, the cornerback, going to Detroit, because Detroit just got rid of Darius Slay. They need someone in the backfield, and Jeffrey Okudua is definitely gonna be that guy in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that, especially because if you're, that's another thing we're gonna be talking about in the near future about like different, um, like quarterbacks and different.
Yeah, maybe we've teased that twice now. Maybe we'll get into that actually in the next
Yeah.
podcast, just because we have teased that twice, and we actually should probably maybe get into our thoughts about that. Um, but I think Jeffrey Okudua is going to be the number 3 guy. The Giants, I think the Giants are a big question mark in my mind. I think they're going to take an offensive line guy to help protect that young quarterback that they got that they're going to be running with.
You see, that would make a whole lot of sense.
But then again, it's the
And
Giants.
it looks like they're taking they have Tristan Wirfs,
Yeah, I'll say that's
number 4.
mine's a little messed up. I almost want to reset this PFF because it's got Jeffrey Okudua going number 4 to the Giants, and then it's got Miami taking CeeDee Lamb. But I think pretty much the census on this right now though is that number 3 is definitely going, or not number 3. The number 3 quarterback going to be taken is without a doubt going to be Justin Herbert. And I actually think there's potential that Justin Herbert could actually end up being better than Tua and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's kind of been a little bit of a dark horse, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Let's see, this year for Justin Herbert.
Yeah. We don't always do our research before we come into this. We have an idea of what we want to talk about, but we don't always know. Should have made that.
Okay, well let's do a little bit of comparison with Justin Herbert and Tua. So
Okay.
this season, Justin Herbert 286 for 428, 66.8 completion percentage, 3,400 yards, 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah, and I will say this: Justin Herbert had an amazing combine, if I remember right, and that's why he got tossed in there. Let me look up what his combine stuff was, but I'm pretty sure that's why he got tossed in there all of a sudden. A 4.68 40, 35.5 vertical, 123 broad jump, 3 cone drill in 7.06, and 20-yard shuffle in 4.46. He did not do the bench press or the 60-yard shuffle, but I remember watching his combine, and he looked really good. Yeah, he looked good. He had a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, name me like his longest this year was a 73, and then last year was.
You're cutting out. Jeremy's having technical difficulties, so we're just full of technical difficulties today.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good one today.
No,
Anyways, what I was saying was Justin Herbert this year, his longest was a 73-yarder, and then this year 73, last year was an 83-yarder. So he shows that he can bomb a ball down the field. That's for sure.
I'll say, did you see the video of his pro day or no?
I think I did, yeah.
I'll say his pro day, he was standing in the end zone, had both of his feet standing throw, just loading back his arm and launching it. He was launching the ball 62 yards down the field consistently.
Yeah.
Like I think it was 3 or 4 in a row, just bombed him 62 yards standing flat-footed. The dude's got a cannon.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be a really weird. I'm not making a comparison to the two, but I think just based off of that and based off of what I have kind of heard about Justin Herbert, I think Justin Herbert is going to be very similar to the Patrick Mahomes of this draft. A guy who's got the cannon, a guy that everyone passed on, didn't really think was going to be much. Actually, you know what? This is a great little sort of comparison moment. I think Joe Burrow is Mitchell Trubisky. As a Bears fan, I say it. As a Bears fan, I say it. I think Tua Tagovailoa has a chance to be Deshaun Watson. I think he has a chance to be Patrick Mahomes, and I think Justin Herbert has a chance to be Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. I think it's actually going to be closer between Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa than it is Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, because like when you just look at like stats alone, Justin Herbert and Tua, their stats are more consistent through both seasons.
Oh yeah. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's. He had one good season.
I'll say
last year, I think he only threw for not even 2,000 yards. Not really.
I'll say in Joe Burrow's defense, he didn't have a great team around him that first year. But then again, he's not going to have a great team around him this first year anyway. This is one thing we were talking about.
You have to make do what you have.
I'll say he's got AJ Green. He's got a speedy guy in I cannot think of his name off the top of my head, but their number 3 wide receiver. He's a fast guy, but that's good for the slot. However, you're gonna need something better to work with. I know they went out and rebuilt that offensive line. I think they rebuilt that offensive line because of Joe Burrow. I think when Joe Burrow was hesitant on signing with them, I think it was, or coming to the team, he had that comment of "I'll play for whoever takes me." I think him saying something like that really got into everybody's head, and so then Cincinnati went out and they signed 2 or 3 offensive guys, and I think they're going to take one or two more in this draft. I can scroll down and see what else Cincinnati's projected to take. That's a safety. But I've seen other ones where in the second round, Cincinnati's taking offensive line guys to help rebuild up that offensive line. I think it's because they want to take Joe Burrow and they want to keep him protected, which is a smart move. Definitely a smart move, especially if you're trying to get what everyone thinks is the number one guy. But like I said earlier, I think Joe Burrow's gonna end up being a bust.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah, I'll say it's gonna be interesting. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I think he's gonna get beat up a lot in the first year or two, and I think a lot of people are gonna turn their backs on. I think it's gonna be very similar to a Mitchell Trubisky case. He's not gonna produce what people are thinking he's gonna do in the first 2 years, and people are gonna start turning their backs on him in Cincinnati. And
Yeah, I
if
can
that
definitely see
happens, that's awful for him because he's gonna end up getting kicked out of the league just like Trubinsky's doing right now. Trubinsky's getting pushed out of the league because his team's turned the back on him, his GM's turned his back on him, the fans have turned the back on him. Trubinsky's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad quarterback. He just needs to get into a scheme that fits him a little bit better. He needs a coach that wants to teach him. He needs a GM that has faith in him, and that's absolutely no one on the Bears at this point.
that. Yep.
So I think Joe Burrow could end up going down that same path, but then again, I could be 100% wrong, and Joe Burrow could be everything we thought he was going to be. And if he is, I will admit publicly that I was wrong. But yeah. Let's kind of get into some of those later rounds. Where does yours thing have CeeDee Lamb going? Because CeeDee Lamb is a big name. Henry Ruggs III is a big name, and Jerry Jude. I don't know where you've got.
So on my thing, it has CeeDee Lamb going number 5 to Miami, Jerry Jude going to Arizona at number 8, and then Henry Ruggs III is going to Cleveland.
Interesting. Mine's kind of similar. I have Henry Ruggs III going number 7 to Carolina, CeeDee Lamb falling all the way to number 11 to the Jets, and Jerry Jude going to Vegas with the Raiders at number 12. All three of those guys are going to be big names. And I think they're all going to be great. This is a very deep wide receiver draft.
It is.
And that's one thing that I really like about this is a deep wide receiver draft. So any team that needs a wide receiver, guess what? You're getting one. Whether you like it or not, you're getting one this year.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
I say I wouldn't be surprised if every team takes a wide receiver in this draft, just because that's the way that it's kind of shaping up to be right now.
That's exactly how it's shaping up to be.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna get into some guys that I think personally, we're gonna kind of dip out into the second round. I don't know if you want to comment any more on the first round or whatnot. I don't neither one of our teams are in the first round, and so it's kind of hard to be excited about anything after the first 5 picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I mean, not really seeing anything too big in the first round.
Oh, this is interesting. I just reshuffled it again, and I've got Cincinnati taking Tua Tagovailoa, number 1. And Miami taking Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I feel like it.
This is a very random simulator. This is just 100% random simulator. Yeah, it's very. I wonder what happens if I just take not random at all out. Let's just see that and see what. Okay, that looks a little bit more realistic so far. Just going off that.
Take that out too. I'll try it out.
I'll say we're just kind of simulating this, guys. See what kind of looks good. But I know 2 guys. Well, there's actually 4 guys that I've had my eye on for the Bears, and if the Bears take either one of these guys, I think it's going to be a successful draft for us. You can call it a reach, and I know they would be reaches for a lot of these guys, except for maybe 1 or 2. But the tight end out of Notre Dame, Cole Kmet. I know as a Bears fan, it's weird to hear me say, "Hey, we need another tight end," because we need another tight end. No, we really don't. But we have a numerous amount of them. But we need someone who's fast and can catch the ball. And Cole Kmet had a great year at Notre Dame this past year, and I watched this draft, and he's got a lot of potential. I like his speed. He's got a good vertical, a good broad jump. He did pretty well catching, if I do remember correctly. I like Cole Kmet, but if Cole Kmet is not there was one dude that stood out in my mind right away. His name is Albert Aqua. I don't even know if I'm able to say this. Albert Okwuegbunam. Okwuegbunam. I don't know how you would pronounce that, but he's actually from Springfield, Illinois, so he's an Illinois boy, and he was fast as all get out for a tight end in that 40. He ran a 4.49. I believe he caught every ball that came his way, if I do remember right. Doesn't always operate. He does take a lot of steps. I didn't notice that. He takes a lot of steps, but he's fast. He's not supposed to go to the third round, but the Bears don't have a third round, and so he would be a little bit of a reach. But I think either one of those tight ends is actually a great prospect for us, and I would be 100% happy with either one of them.
So, about Chicago's
Mhm.
drafts. Okay. So I'm looking at mine. You
Yeah.
guys got it's the 43rd and 50th, right?
Yes,
So at number 43, I guys have you taking KJ Hamler, a wide receiver.
that's what I have too. And at number 50, I have a pick that I would absolutely love. And I think you already know what I'm gonna say because I
Is
think
it a quarterback from Georgia?
it is a quarterback from Georgia, Jake Fromm. I know Jake Fromm got a lot of hate because Jalen Hurts and all of that. But Jake Fromm is a kid that I have followed since he was in high school when he had the Netflix documentary QB1. I don't know if anyone has ever watched that, but if you have, you know that Jake Fromm is an extremely humble guy, a great personality, and I absolutely have loved him since day one. He had a good career in Georgia. I'm not saying he had a great career. Obviously, he wasn't no Joe Burrow or Tua Tagovailoa. I think he had a good career, and I have been lobbying for the Bears to take Jake Fromm ever since he declared for the draft. And that was actually the next guy on my list that I was going to talk about was Jake Fromm. So thanks for bringing him up. But Jake Fromm, Jalen Hurts. Actually, mine has Jalen Hurts going number 49 to Pittsburgh. Uh, but I think Jake Fromm would be a great fit for the Bears. The Bears, as much as they want to say that we need a quarterback that's a scrambler, we don't want a scrambling quarterback. We can't deal with it. We need a quarterback that can stay in the pocket, throw the ball down the field, and do very well. And you know what? Jake Fromm does exactly that. I've loved the
Yeah,
kid.
I'm looking at his stats for the past 3 years. They've pretty much been
He's a very consistent guy,
throughout
yeah.
all 3 years. Completion percentages throughout the years 60, 67, 62, 2,800 yards, 27, 2,600, touchdowns 24, 30, 24, 5, 6, and 7 interceptions. Like
Yeah.
he's a very consistent person, which is a good thing you want in a quarterback.
I'll say the NFL is comparing him to Colt McCoy. That's whatever you think that. They're expecting him to go in the fourth round. I don't think he's going to fall that far. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's ran a 5.0140. That was an unofficial. His vertical jump was 30, broad jump 111, three cone drill was a 727, and then four cone drill was 451. Just to give you a little bit of perspective. But I think that I think he's going to be a lot better than people expect him to be. I know he's a hard worker. I saw that in the Netflix documentary that he did, as long as he wasn't like being fake and whatnot. But I think he's a hard worker. I think you put Jake Fromm, Mitchell Trubinsky, and Nick Foles. I hate saying his name. I hate that we made that trade. But you put those three guys, and I think all three of them have a chance of being our number one guy this year.
It's definitely going to be, especially if you guys do draft Jake Fromm, it's definitely going to be an interesting season to watch for Chicago because it's going to be okay.
Who's going to be the quarterback this week? Yeah, who's going to be the quarterback this week? So that's one thing that I would absolutely love to see. I think it's going to be a lot of tension, not tension, but it's going to be a rivalry between the three of them. Who's going to be the quarterback this week? And I absolutely love that. The last name I'm going to bring up real fast is John Simpson. He's an offensive lineman. He is extremely strong. If you saw his combine grade, I believe he did 33 bench press. If it's what I remember him doing. But he's from, I'll say, it was 2 plates, I believe is what they dropped. Let's see, 34. I lied. He did 34. He's an extremely strong dude. He moves quickly. He's not the fastest guy off the line, and I've noticed that because I watched Clemson play. I love watching next year's number 1 overall pick. I like watching him play, so I love watching him being able to protect him. But yeah, I think he's a great fit. I know that it would definitely be a reach because I don't think he's supposed to even go until like round 4. But the Bears have a late 4th round pick and we don't have a 3rd round pick. And so for me, I think the reach would be worth it. I know there's another offensive line, and we need a guard. That's one thing we definitely know. We need an offensive line guard. So I think the Bears take any of those 4 players, and I would be extremely happy as a camper.
Because the stats have proved it. When you protect like when you get a good offensive lineman,
Oh yeah, like
you're gonna produce.
I'm gonna hate on your Colts for a little bit here, all right? So just bear with me. But the Colts, they did not have the greatest quarterback. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with that. The Colts did not have the greatest quarterback this year, but they did okay because they had Pancake Master up there. I said it. You
We'll
happy?
only talk about the first 8 games. Don't talk about the last 8 games.
That's it. Either way, you guys had a great start, all right, and it was because you guys had a good offensive line.
That's exactly how it is.
I was
Even
like,
take
you
a look
guys
at technically 2 years ago, with Andrew Luck's comeback season.
Yeah.
He dominated because
offensive
he
line
had
was actually
arguably
good.
the #1 offensive line in the league.
I don't
He
know about
got
that one, Chief.
sacked. I said arguably.
I don't even think it's arguable. I think at the time, I think Dallas is, but we're not gonna get into that right now because we're at the 25-minute mark, so we gotta move on to a different draft anyway. But I think at the time, definitely Cowboys. We'll get into what you think for the Colts and their second round picks because they don't have a first either. But what draft do you
Yeah.
want to move on to next? We did my PFF one, so do you want to move on to CBS or the Orange Brown?
Uh,
Which one are you feeling right now? These are both yours, so you tell me which you want to look at real fast.
let me take a quick gander. That's only first rounds. Nobody. Oh, I think that had second rounds. 1 second.
Well, the CBS definitely has second round.
No,
okay.
it's an NFL one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, that one does too. You just gotta click on the
So-
link to it.
We'll go with this one first. It's an NFL one
By Chad Rudder.
by Chad Rudder. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So.
This one's interesting. I guess we'll read it out to the people because they can't see it. Number 1, Joe Burrow. Number 2 to Washington, Chase Young. Number 3, Jeff Okudua to the Lions. Number 4, Miami moves up. Doesn't say what they gave up, but they get Justin Herbert. And then number 5, New York still keeps their offensive tackle in Tristan Wirfs. And then number 6 goes to Tua Tagovailoa. So those are your top 6 picks. I'll read off the top 10. Isaiah Simpson, number 7 to the Carolina Panthers. Number 8, Derek Brown to the Falcons. Number 9, C.J. Harrison to the Jags. And number 10, Jordan Love to the Saints. They projected that the Saints are going to trade up to grab Jordan Love, which is interesting in itself.
That is very interesting.
I'll say this is a very interesting one. I don't know. I know the fact that the Saints. Well, I mean, it makes sense that they would need a quarterback. Drew Brees is starting to get to that end of the life cycle, but I don't know if that's gonna be their guy. But maybe they're gonna let him grow underneath of him, and maybe he ends up being some sort of like Tom Brady or something like that because he grew into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Regardless, though, I think it's interesting that they have Miami grabbing Justin Herbert instead of Tua Tagovailoa.
Again, I can see why.
Yeah.
They would grab Justin Herbert instead of
I'll say
Tua.
Tua is scary because of the injuries
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tua is a glass cannon.
Yeah.
It's
and
as simple as that. He is a glass cannon.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be interesting, especially since that trade makes 100% sense for the Giants. I don't know if a trade with the Giants and Dolphins would actually make 100% sense for the Dolphins. The only thing I can think of is that the Dolphins would trade up in hopes to get the pick, so that way the Chargers can't, because the GM of New York has said he's open for business. He said, "Hey, I'm willing to move down." So I can see why Miami would be like, "Hey, we want to take that pick just so that way the Chargers don't."
Yeah.
And it makes sense for the Giants because they're moving down one pick. They're going to get more than just the number 5. They're going to get something good, and they're still getting that offensive tackle that they were looking for. So that trade makes sense to me.
I still don't know. I don't know what to think about the Jordan Love trade.
Yeah, I'll say Jordan Love is
10
one
for
quarterback I
Saints.
haven't looked that great into. I know he's not.
So
I don't think
I've
he's projected to go first round. I think he's projected a second round
That's the thing,
in most
though.
of I've been looking
like,
at.
So his stats, they're interesting.
Okay.
So he's been fairly consistent. His first year, he didn't play all that many games, but he still dropped 1,600 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. That sounds a little bit scary, yeah. His sophomore year, 267 for 417, 64% completion, 3,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, 600. He had a good season that season.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. This year, pretty similar, besides the interceptions almost tripled. He had 20 touchdowns for 17 interceptions.
That's interesting.
Not good at all.
Huh.
But he had more completions overall. Is the thing.
Yeah, but that's still very interesting. His combine grades weren't that awful. 4.74 40, 35 vertical jump, 118 broad jump, 721 three cone, and 452 20-yard shuffle. He is actually projected to be a first rounder. I lied. He's compared to Blake Bortles though, and that's just a weird comparison. Like you hear Blake Bortles, and I'm like, man, I don't like that. You know, it's not
No, not even
it's
close.
not something that you really like. I actually don't even know who they compared Joe Burrow to be 100% honest with you, and I'm really curious as to who they did that.
Yeah.
I know he didn't run the combine. Kurt Warner. That's what they compare him to.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, that's an interesting one. It's a 7.07 combine grade, which is very high.
Yeah,
But
like it's like I've heard multiple different things on Jordan. I've heard that he's supposed to go first round. No, I thought
I think
now like it's it's a very
it's gonna be interesting simply based off of team needs and who's taking who when. If they think like if Jordan Love falls to the second round, it's gonna make sense. In my mind, I think he will end up falling to the second round because no one wants to take that quarterback first round if they don't think he's going to be the number one guy. Because that's what the
mhm.
first round's turned into. The first round, if you're taking first round, you're being at
That's
this
your
point.
number one guy. He's gonna be a future Pro Football Hall of Famer or all this, that, and whatnot.
And that's all players in the first round. Now, the first round now has never had such an impact in the NFL as it has before. Because if you're taking the first round, you're expected to start right away. Like
Yeah.
if you're taking a number if you're taking even if you're taking number 17 or something stupid like that, if you're taking uh, Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina as the Dallas Cowboys, you're expecting him to be a starter right away. Like you're expecting him to come out, be the guy you need him to be right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I also just realized I might have done math wrong, and we might already need to move on to the second one because there's not 100 minutes in an hour. There's 60. So, we spent 10 extra minutes on the first one, so we're gonna have to go real short on this one or one of the other one coming up. But yeah. So your first round, Jonathan Taylor, 26 to
We're
Miami.
on the
That's
CBS
interesting.
one, right?
Yeah, still on CBS.
Okay.
Um, I'm looking
I
to
think
see
the
where
thing
some.
that the thing that's sticking out to me the most in the first round for the technically for the Colts is them trading up to number 31 pick with San Francisco.
Which one are you looking at?
The CBS one.
Oh, I thought we were on NFL. You said
Unless
CBS, didn't you?
okay.
We were looking at the. We were looking.
Anyway, so the NFL one,
uh,
scratch that. Round one Colts, nothing.
not to happen. One thing that is sticking out to me is I like the fact that CeeDee Lamb doesn't fall too far. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be a stud in this league. I think he's going to be a number one guy. I think Henry Ruggs III is going to be a number one guy. And I like the fact that CeeDee Lamb is going to Las Vegas. I like Henry Ruggs to the 49ers. Those both make sense to me. Um, it makes sense that the Cardinals aren't going to take any sort of wide receiver.
Yeah, because they just got stacked with wide receivers just by one person.
Yeah, thanks. Um, Jerry Jude falling all the way to 21 with the Eagles. I like that pick for the Eagles. That's actually one pick I really like. The Eagles need a wide receiver because they were struggling last year. They were a
Yeah,
struggle bus. Justin Jefferson to the Vikings. I don't like that as a Bears fan, as a non-biased commentator, sort of whatever the heck we're being called at this point. I like that pick. They just traded away their star and Stephon Diggs. They need someone to come in and try and fill his shoes. I think he's
yeah.
a good
I
pick.
think Justin Jefferson will be a good fit there.
Yeah. I think Justin Taylor, a new running back in Miami, is very fun. I don't know if you actually saw Justin Taylor play or not, but I thought he played very well. I thought he was a good running back. Um, I think you're putting a new running back and a new quarterback together, and I think you're making it interesting for fun. And then you're also getting, and then at 18 they have Jaredick Willis going to Miami as well. So new offensive line guy, a new quarterback, a new running back, your nice shiny new offense to go with your nice shiny new defense that you've been picking up in the offseason. I think those picks would make Miami very interesting. Still not 100% sold on Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa, but I think that makes that very interesting.
Yeah, they'll just continue the quarterback rivalry of was he actually supposed to be the number whatever pick.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna
Over
go all the
first.
way until they retire, and even then it might go further beyond then. Um, I'm looking at the second round now, and they have the Bears taking Caesar Roots, a center, and it makes sense for us, but it doesn't. We don't exactly need a center, but if he can play the tackle at the guard position, that's definitely something we need. I see
So
Jeff Gladney. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, so I'm looking at the second round for the Colts.
Mhm.
I don't like it.
You don't
One
like the
bit.
corner position?
I don't like it.
You want a
One
wide
bit.
receiver,
We need a wide receiver. We
and
don't want a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver.
and here's one thing that I will say this, and it's kind of in the defense of this guy. I see kind of what he did. He didn't take a wide receiver, but he took a tight end. He gave you an option to throw the ball to somebody at least.
Who in the second?
Yeah, Harrison Bryant.
That's the thing though. Like we already have I think 2 tight ends on our roster,
Mhm.
and then so the Bears actually just released. You guys just released one of your tight ends, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Thankfully, he's injured though,
Yeah.
so don't worry about picking him up. I will say it's also interesting. This one has Jake Fromm going in the third round to the Indianapolis Colts.
Really?
Yeah, I just decided to look at it to see because you were complaining about the wide receivers. Like, well, maybe he's got because like we had talked about earlier, this is a deep wide receiver class. You can get a wide receiver in the 7th round, and there's still a chance that he could be a star. Also, number 94, I can't say his name. Albert Aquinabob. I don't know if it's right or not. Going to the Patriots. I like that pick for the Patriots personally. And then
And still in that third round, they
yeah.
have Jalen Hurts going to the fucking
Yeah,
my bad.
Jake.
Going to the Patriots.
Yeah, that's also interesting. J.K. Dobbins, running back, going to Tennessee. That's also fun.
And then like so that brings up the question again for the Patriots. If they're drafting Jalen Hurts this draft, are they not
Oh.
gonna try and tank for?
They're tanking. They are 1,000% tanking. I think they're just.
So they're gonna have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. One's a rookie, one's in his second year, and the other one's whatever.
Yeah,
I think just got drafted like 2 years ago, maybe.
something like that. Yeah.
I think New England's gonna be falling apart here pretty soon.
100%. But you know what? They're gonna get a stud next year
Yeah.
in Trevor Lawrence.
So I liked getting Jake Fromm.
I bet you
the
do.
I,
It makes sense for you
if
guys.
by some chance he drops to the third round, though.
I think he
Yeah.
definitely falls to the third round. I think Jake Fromm, if the Bears don't take him at round 2, I think there's actually a chance he falls all the way to round 4. Speaking of round 4, I'm looking through and I see you guys taking Van Jefferson, the senior from Florida, as a wide receiver. So there's your wide receiver that I was talking about. So now you guys have 2 new options to throw to, and you have a nice shiny new quarterback.
I mean, he's gonna be sitting behind Philip Rivers for the year.
That's true,
So,
but there's a lot worse people he could be sitting behind.
potentially. Who knows how good Philip Rivers actually is gonna be this year?
Yeah.
You know, me being a Colts fan, I'm saying, oh, he's gonna do amazing, all this and stuff. He's gonna be a number 1 quarterback. Oh, I already know that he's not gonna be. He's gonna do good. Yes, he's gonna do good.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to see though if he isn't producing good halfway through the season. If we do end up drafting a quarterback in the
If
draft,
the quarterback
he's gonna be
plays.
starting.
You guys are also
I would say yes.
I'll say-
Do that.
you guys are also projected to take a wide receiver in the 6th round too. Devon.
Good. We need help at wide receiver position. That is our main concern right now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through. I want to see who they say is going to be Mr. Irrelevant. Let's see who they got.
Round 7, last pick.
Yeah, running back Nico Dwaddle from South Carolina.
Waddle.
That's who they got saying is Mr. Irrelevant.
Kind of interesting though that New York's
Yeah, the New York has the last pick.
looking at a run. No, not even that, but looking at a running back.
I mean, you can always use a
I
backup
mean,
running back if
granted, it's the
Saquon goes
last
down.
round. Like,
Yeah.
oh god, I just saw the LA Chargers or the LA Rams' logo.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it? All right, we got to move on to the next one though, because we're at the 40-minute mark, so we got to kind of get this
Let's
moving.
go to
and
this. Let's go to the CBS one.
CBS. All right.
Mhm.
So we'll just read off the top 10 picks: Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Jeff Okudua, Tristan Wirfs, Tua Tagovailoa, Isaiah Simpson, Derek Brown to the Carolina Panthers. Oh, those first 6 were all the normal ones. Derek Brown to the Carolina Panthers. Jarek Willis Jr., an offensive lineman, going to Cardinals. Justin Herbert going number 9 to the Jags. Number 10, Andrew Thomas going to the Browns.
Now that's interesting for the number 9 pick to Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert. We might both be sleeping on Justin Herbert, to be 100% honest with you.
Well, not only I'm not necessarily saying I'm sleeping on Justin. I'm just saying it's interesting that
The taking the quarterback.
Jaguars are looking for a quarterback. I'm surprised they're not going to trust Gardner Minshew.
That is also true because I've been hearing that they're going.
I'm very surprised you're not going to be going. If this actually does happen, I will be shocked.
Yeah, I say there's this comment says I'm not convinced that Jacksonville trusts Gardner Minshew as their starter. If the coaching staff and front office are comfortable in their roles, then they would be fools to pass up this opportunity. And it's not wrong. If they're not 100% sold on Gardner Minshew, maybe they do bring Justin Herbert in to be sort of a competitor for him. And that kind of makes sense.
But at the same time, though, I've also been seeing reports that Jacksonville might be wanting to trade away
number 9
running back. What's his face?
Yeah. They're going. I think Jacksonville's going to a complete rebuild. Leonard Fournette. That's who you're talking about.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that they might be trying to trade him, and he's still in, I think, his rookie contract.
Yeah.
He's just about to end it.
Yeah, he's still got 2 more years on his rookie contract. He says this season and next season. But I heard the Bears were interested in, or the Bears were in the talks for that, and I'm not okay with that. The Bears don't need another running back. We're okay.
Because he's had issues.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, he's good. He can block, but not a huge fan. CeeDee Lamb going number 16 to the Philadelphia Eagles in a mock trade with the Atlanta Falcons. I really like that. It makes sense for the Eagles. Like I said, they need a wide receiver. I don't think there's a single doubt in my mind that they're taking a wide receiver number in the first round.
Yeah.
But the way this guy has it set up is Jerry Jude going 12 to the Raiders, and 13 is Henry Ruggs III to San Fran. So it makes sense that the Eagles are going to want to trade up to make sure that they get their guy. I think CeeDee Lamb is actually probably going to be the best wide receiver out of this draft. I see Justin Jefferson still going 22 to the Vikings. You mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about your number 31 pick there.
So Jordan Love for the Colts. I've seen a bunch of stuff all over Twitter, every social media thing about fans wanting Jordan Love as the Colts' next quarterback for the foreseeable future. I am iffy.
You're hesitant on
this.
Yeah.
I want a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Is he the right pick for the quarterback, though, is the main question. Like we were talking about earlier, he produces. But this past season kind of makes you
I will also say,
a little bit.
I'm looking at this real quick. His last season, so his 2017-2018, he was sacked 7 times. 2018-2019, sacked 9 times. He was sacked 20 times this last year. So that could have an effect on the number of interceptions he threw. If he's throwing...
Oh no, that 100% puts that 110% puts changes everything. If he gets an offensive line that can protect him, he's going to be producing like how he was, 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Yeah, I'll say, and so I think he has potential to be very good. I think he could end up being a very good guy from you.
I think Jordan Love would be a really good fit for the Colts. I also think Jake Fromm would be a really good pick for the Colts. If Jake Fromm somehow manages to sleep into the 3rd round and we draft a wide receiver and
what would you rather have? Would you rather have Jordan Love or Jake Fromm?
So it's a very tough question. So I'm looking at also running or scrambling and stuff like that. Jordan Love's scrambling abilities
much higher.
Are much higher than Jake Fromm's, which in this current league is
it's everything. In this league,
if you have a quarterback that can scramble, that sets up.
But there's a difference between scrambling and being a running quarterback. Everyone thought the league was going towards running quarterbacks when Cam Newton broke in, and look what happened to just Cam Newton. No one wants a running quarterback anymore. You know why? They get injured. So scrambling is okay.
You can also say, look at Lamar Jackson. What does he do mainly? He likes to scramble.
Russell Wilson. I don't know why I almost said Wilson Smith. I don't know who Wilson Smith is.
Wilson. And then when you think about it, if you have a quarterback that is able to scramble, that's able to run, that sets up so many different opportunities. You
I
can
think
do RPO options so many time after time again. And what is it going to do? Confuse the defenses. Because if you not only have a quarterback that can run and you have a solid running back,
yeah, I
it's
think
game over. They don't
I
know what you're going to do.
I think Lamar Jackson is an abnormality. I think he's a very interesting player in the fact that he can throw the ball. And there was a reason why everyone wanted him to be a running back. It's because he was a loose. I think you put Lamar Jackson as a running back, I think he's still just as successful as he is as a quarterback. So I think Lamar Jackson is a very weird abnormality to where he's able to scramble because maybe that's not his natural position. I don't remember what he played in high school, but I think it's just a very weird abnormality here. We are
Yeah.
getting close to. We have 15 minutes left, so we're gonna kind of dip our toes into the second round, and then maybe even get
Yeah.
this last mock draft. If we don't, we'll wrap it up and we'll go on
Yeah.
from there.
So what's interesting for this second round for you guys, you're taking an offensive lineman for
Yes, I'll say I think it is almost unanimous that the Bears are going to be taking an offensive lineman at some point in this draft, and it makes 100% sense. You know, Kyle Long just announced his retirement; he's done for the year. Our offensive line needs help, and
Yeah.
I think Robert Hunt is a good pick. If he falls to the Bears at number 11 in round 2, I'd be 100% happy with that. I like Robert Hunt. I think he's a good guy. I have no problems with that. I see you guys taking a wide receiver number 2, T. Higgins.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
am very much okay with that actually.
If there's a wide receiver next to the Colts name, Jeremy's very much okay with that. Let's be honest
Hey,
here. Um,
when we're in desperate need.
yeah,
And I'm just looking at some of the stats really quick. Last 2 seasons, this past season, 59 receptions for 1,100 yards, averaging 19 yards a game for 13 touchdowns.
yeah. Um,
2018, 936, 15.9 average, 12 touchdowns. So that's
yeah. Ashton Davis going.
so 6'4", 216. So he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah. Ashton Davis, a safety, going to the Bears at pick number 18. I like it. I don't really like it. Davis is a smart player, that's what it says right here. But I don't really know if we need a safety. We've got Adrian Amos. We need more corners. If we put him in the corner position, cool. I don't know how well he would do in the corner position. But I don't. That's just a weird pick. I'm not sure if I 100% like that one. Not sure if I 100% disliked it. One that I do think is interesting is Cole Kmet, the tight end from Notre Dame, who's like projected to be the number 1 tight end in this draft, going number 19 right after the Bears to the Dallas Cowboys. Makes sense. The Dallas Cowboys just let Jason Witten go. They could use a new tight end. Makes sense for the Cowboys. In that terms, J.K. Dobbins going to the Ravens as a running back. That's a good pick for them, in my opinion. They definitely need one. Just kind of looking through here to see who's interesting going where real fast, and then we're gonna move on to this last one, and we're gonna do a speed round here. All right, Jeremy. We've got
Jacob Eason, quarterback, going to the Detroit Lions at the second
which that
or 32nd pick
that
in round 2.
that's interesting in itself. If we could get into why that's interesting, because I still think that they are married to Sam. Man, help me out here.
I mean, but it makes sense though to start looking at
Quarterbacks,
quarterbacks.
100%.
He was Matt Stafford was drafted in 09.
Yeah.
So he's coming on his 11th season.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Speed round. Ready? So for this one, we're looking at one that the Cleveland Browns actually posted. It's a Cleveland Browns report. But they posted this one. They've got Cincinnati taking Joe Burrow, Washington taking Chase Young, Detroit taking Jeff Okudua, Giants taking Isaiah Simpson, the linebacker, Miami taking Justin Herbert, Chargers taking Tua Tagovailoa, Carolina Panthers taking Derek Brown, Cardinals taking Tristan Wirfs, Jacksonville taking C.J. Henderson, and the Browns taking Jedrick Willis. Only one that really surprises me is Miami taking Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. I could see the Giants taking the linebacker. They need help on defense. Makes sense. I think it's pretty much unanimous. 1, 2, 3. I think it's pretty much unanimous across if you ask anybody across the league. 4, 5, 6 is a little bit of a question mark, and then after that, it's just an absolute just crap fest. But
Yeah.
we can kind of go through this. CeeDee Lamb, the guy who I think is going to be the best receiver in this league,
Still
coming
going
out.
to the Vegas Raiders.
I say, well, no, that's still going to. That's the first time we've seen him going to the Raiders. That's the first time we've actually seen him going the first one, which is really weird. Henry Ruggs going to 49ers. I think that's also pretty much unanimous. Is Henry Ruggs going to the Niners? The Bucks taking an offensive lineman to help out Tom Brady makes sense. Jerry Jude going to the Broncos. Miami taking an edge rusher. Vegas taking a linebacker. Jacksonville getting a defensive back. Philadelphia Eagles drafting Justin Jefferson. Makes sense. New England Patriots taking Jordan Love as a quarterback, 23. Also, kind of makes sense. Justin Love would actually fit really well in Belichick's scheme, I'm pretty sure. Just a quick thought on that. Let's see what else is interesting here. Trying to speed round this. Do you see anything that's standing out to you at all? Oh, I might have lost Jeremy here. He's having technical difficulties, so I'll keep going. Second. Oh, you back?
We're good.
All right, cool. Do you see anything here that stands out to you? I just kind of scrolled to the first round and didn't really see much. I see you guys are taking a wide receiver, Denzel Mims, in the second round, though. So congratulations, you're gonna get
Denzel Mims.
Denzel Mims. Yeah, we kind of do our research on the fly, and that's probably why the show's taking a little bit longer than I think either one of us expected. This one has the Bears taking Cole Kmet, number 43, and then the Colts taking Justin Easton, number 44, the quarterback. Let's see. Just gonna keep going here. KJ Hamler for the Bears, a wide receiver at number 50. That's interesting in itself. The Bears do need receivers. We didn't address that, so I do think we will be addressing wide receiver in this draft. At least one, maybe two. Seeing if anything else kind of stands out to me, if there's any big names that I like or that I've seen. Cam Akers to Green Bay. Makes sense for makes sense for Green Bay. All right, that's pretty much what stands out there. You've got 9 minutes left to wrap this up or talk about anything else. Is there any specific player that you think you want to see the Colts take? Or are you kind of like, it is what it is? I might have lost Jeremy there, folks.
My God. Gee, this is ridiculous.
He was doing so well.
Repeat that, please.
All right. Do you have any input on who you would like to see the Colts take?
I'm for the first two rounds, or just like
just is there any singular player that you want to see the Colts take?
I'm pretty much wanting, because I've seen like a lot of people have been, I've been seeing a lot of people debate it on Twitter and stuff. I'm okay with Jordan Love coming to the Colts. I think that's my number. I think that's my number one pick is for the Colts right now.
You want to see Jalen Love come to the Colts?
I want to see Jordan Love come to the Colts.
Sorry.
Sit behind Philip Rivers for a year, maybe. Who knows what's gonna happen? But thrive, cause Frank Reich is a genius coach. He was a quarterback before, so he knows quarterbacks and stuff. So he could learn a lot from not only one of the best. I wouldn't say one of the. He's a very good quarterback under Philip Rivers. He can learn a lot under Philip Rivers.
Yeah, and I will agree there. I think he can definitely grow under Philip Rivers. The question is he going to grow with the interceptions under Philip Rivers?
I think so.
That's a little bit of a joke.
Of the offensive line.
Grow as in throw more. But I definitely think Jordan Love is definitely interesting for you guys. I think he would be a decent fit. I think for you guys, I want to see you guys take I know you're gonna hate me when I say it. I want to see you guys take a tight end. Your defense is a bet. You guys definitely, because I think you guys are gonna roll with Philip Rivers for this year, no matter what. I think that's just what you're gonna do, and I think you guys are gonna address You're mainly gonna address quarterback next year, unless the right opportunity is there. I don't know if you guys.
That makes sense.
So I want to see you guys have a tight end that can catch the ball. Don't get me wrong.
We have a tight end that can catch the ball. It's just a matter of, do we really need a third tight end on our roster?
Oh, trust me, as a Bears fan, I don't think we need a fourth tight end. But at the same time, if give me a minute, the name's gonna come to me. If Cole Kmet's there at the second round, I don't see why we don't take him. He's a stud. or
Yeah,
if Albert Okwani, if Albert O is there in the 4th round, I would say take him. Um,
that's kind of what I'm saying about Jordan Love. If he's
if he's there,
available
take him.
at the number 34 pick,
Take him.
there's no point of not taking him.
Yeah.
If he's dropped to number 34 overall, which very much could happen,
Yeah.
it'd be stupid not to.
Another guy that's interesting for you guys is Jacob Easton. He was posted here, this last one we were looking at. He's supposed to go to the 2nd round. He's compared to Carson Palmer and Brock Osweiler. But he's got good arm talent. He ran a 489, vertical jump of 27.5, broad jump 110, cone drill 7.5 seconds, and 20-yard shuffle in 4.75 seconds. So he's a quick dude. He can move. He's got a deep, big arm. I think he could definitely be an interesting fit for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got what, 4 days until the draft?
Yeah,
on Thursday, right?
we're getting real close. Yeah.
Starts the 23rd. I mean, I really don't care about the first round at all, but
yeah.
day 2.
I'll say so. Wednesday will be a very interesting. But Wednesday will be our last podcast on the draft. It'll be kind of like our last thoughts on it. Who we really want to see each team take. I think next week we'll have on Wednesday we'll have like a more cohesive list on every single team, not just our teams, but we'll kind of be like, hey, here's what we want to see each team take positional wise, and here's who we think would be the best position player for them at that time.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little more cohesive. So if you want more on every other team that's not a Bears and Colts, Wednesday's gonna be the one you're gonna want to listen to. But Jeremy, we're coming up on the 57th minute mark here. So we've been with you guys for the past 56 minutes. Last following thoughts, and then we'll give us a 2-minute warning wrap, and we will get out of here. Jeremy, you want to start off with thoughts, or are you out of thoughts?
I guess final thoughts were saying it's gonna be an.
Oh no, we lost.
Got a lot of.
Is he back?
What was that?
We lost you for a second. I was like, oh no.
Oh, okay. I said it's gonna be an interesting draft this year. A lot of different personalities might be going somewhere else. A lot of changes are gonna be coming up for different teams and stuff. So definitely be posted up. Be ready to come in, listen in, continue sharing our thoughts and stuff. So
yeah, I'll say I think there's definitely gonna be some heartbreak by some teams. I might not be exactly the happiest camper if Jake Fromm is there in the late 2nd or maybe either the early 4th and the Bears don't take him. I'd definitely not be the happiest camper. I'd also may not be the happiest camper if Cole Kmet doesn't take him by the Bears as well. That's kind of my final thoughts. We're going on to minute number 58, so we will start a 2-minute warning. That's what we're gonna call this, our 2-minute warning. Wednesday. Hopefully Eric will be back. Eric wasn't able to be with us today. He was dealing with some stuff and he had to go run some errands and whatnot. But next week, Wednesday, our final draft preview will be live on SoundCloud, and maybe we'll even post it to YouTube the same way we posted this one with this little just backdrop video. If you guys actually want to see something specific on the screen, let us know. We are on Spotify. We are officially on Spotify. If you don't follow us on Twitter at The Unprofessional Experts, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on SoundCloud, Spotify. We're working on getting on Apple Podcast.
and iHeartRadio as well.
Yeah, we're working on getting iHeartRadio. We're on Instagram as well. Literally, just search The Unprofessional Experts on anything, and you will find us. We're there. That's the best way to keep up with what's going on, from what's going to be posted, when it's going to be posted, where it's going to be posted, all of that. So make sure you stay up to date with us, follow us, and I think we will see you guys next time. Do you have anything else to add, Jeremy, or are you good?
Nope, that sounds about it.
All right, so we covered all of our bases, and look at that, Jeremy. We rushed through that, and we had a minute and 10 seconds to spare.
Look at us go.
We're really good. We crammed that. Normally, this is a conversation that we would sit here and have for like 3 hours, so that was a real big cram for us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening in, and we will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye-bye.